There has been a list of new changes announced to the new Hyundai Ioniq 5. They're all good. They're okay. They're what they are, and I'll tell you what they are in a second. But I'm also going to tell you what I don't like and what I do like about the Ioniq 5. And I'm going to ask you the question: can the Ioniq 5 make up for what it lacks by what it actually offers? Now, don't get me wrong, it looks really good, but is it more about style over substance? Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Welcome to the channel, all you new subscribers. Great to have you here. Make sure you check out some of the 700 plus videos we've made over the last 6 months. Or maybe it's 800, I don't know, I've lost count. Welcome back to everyone else. Those of you watching the channel regularly would know that I love the Hyundai Ioniq 5. In fact, I love it and I hate it. I have a love-hate relationship with the vehicle. Why? Well, if I buy a car, I don't want it to be orphaned. What I mean by that is, if you buy a Hyundai and you find that by 2025 there is no more Hyundai, then that's going to suck for you and your car. It's going to lose value. It's going to lose warranty. And you know what? Even if there's only a small chance of that, I still have to call it out. And I'm calling it out. I've been calling it out about Hyundai and Kia because realistically, the EV6 EV and the Ioniq 5 are two of the top 10 best electric cars on the face of the planet. But you know what? If you sell something really good, for example, in BMX, right? There is this seat called the Uni seat. People love them. People want them en masse. It is the most popular seat for kids. It's the coolest looking little seat. And yet, the company doesn't exist anymore. They don't make them. I can't find any of them for sale anywhere in the world right now. So really, is that a cool seat? If you can't buy it, yeah, it's not so cool after all, is it? Now, this is the current problem we see ourselves in. Hyundai right now, they do make the Ioniq 5. Kia, their sister brand, do make the EV6, but the majority of them are sold in South Korea, not in other countries around the world. And where they are sold, they do sell them in the US, they do sell them in Australia, they do sell them in Europe, but in very, very small numbers, meaning they represent a tiny percentage of Hyundai and Kia's overall vehicle sales. Now, Hyundai and Kia, believe it or not, are not actually that big in comparison to other car companies. If you put them together, their sales figures are very small in comparison to, say, Toyota or Volkswagen Group, or even the Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi Alliance, or even Stellantis, for example. So it's a very hard task to compete against those companies because they are losing significant market share in the world's largest car market, and that is China. And by the way, China is by far the world's largest electric car market, with more than 50% of all sales of electric vehicles last year being in China. And what happens if you lose that market? Well, that eliminates an enormous percentage of your possible sales. That is what's happened to Hyundai and Kia. Just quietly, they've basically eliminated themselves from the market in China. And that is a big concern to me. Getting back to the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Now, one of the cool things about the Ioniq 5 is they are apparently making an N version, which will be similar to the EV6, which is like basically a supercar. It's Tesla Model 3 performance, basically that level of performance. But of course, it comes in as sort of a more practical body shape. It's like a wagon cross SUV cross hatchback. Very cool shape. Ioniq 5, same sort of thing. Very, very practical body shape. That's what I love about it. I love the looks of them both as well. Personally, I prefer the looks of the Ioniq 5 versus the EV6, but let me know which one you prefer. Now, let's get to these changes we're going to see in the model this year, which unfortunately are not going to affect most of you because most of you won't be able to buy one this year, which, as you can see, does piss me off. But hopefully this changes next year. Hopefully Hyundai and Kia get their shit together, stop blabbing on about hydrogen and just sunk cost bias, just get rid of it, cut off that, stop working on gas engines, cut off their hydrogen work, just work on EVs, just go all in. That's what they need to do. Hyundai officially announced that the 2023 model year Hyundai Ioniq 5 in Europe will get several major enhancements and specification changes, and those changes will not just be for the European versions, they'll be for all Ioniq 5s and all EV6s. Now, the list includes detailed descriptions, higher battery capacity, 77.4 kilowatt hours, battery thermal preconditioning ahead of fast charging, so you can let the car know in advance you're going to fast charge it, and then it can precondition the battery in order to enable that to happen better. Optional digital center mirror, DCM, optional digital side mirrors, DSM, and a smart frequency dampers, or SFDs. The 2023 model year will be available to order in Europe starting in late spring of 2022. So that means for those of you here in Australia and the US who've already ordered models, you're not going to get the updates. Higher battery capacity. That's really the only change worth even talking about here, in my honest opinion. The most significant change is the battery. The long-range version goes from 72.6 kilowatt hours to 77.4 kilowatt hours. That's an increase of 4.8 kilowatt hours, or 6.6%. That's a pretty big change. Now, fortunately, apparently I'm hearing now that that change will apply to US models as well. The entry-level battery version stays the same at 58.2 kilowatt hours. Now, if you're not sure about the batteries, the battery technology is not lithium iron phosphate, they're lithium ternary batteries. And that is my personal criticism of this car. With a Tesla vehicle, you can order an LFP battery if you buy the standard range vehicle. With Hyundai, you can't do that. With BYD, you can only get LFP batteries, which maybe to most people, maybe to a lot of you, that's a good thing. But personally, I think having the choice is the best scenario. Have the choice. Give people the option of lithium ternary batteries, NCM or NCA chemistry, or LFP batteries. I like having that option. Obviously, that is my main criticism of these batteries, considering the fact that, well, a lot of people want to be able to charge their batteries and not worry about battery degradation. A lot of people want to just go, yeah, stick it on charge overnight, charge it to 100, charge it to discharge it to 5%. Who cares? That to me, if you had to charge your mobile phone to only 80% every night and only discharge it to 20%, then that adds a level of stress. So I think that's one of the big advantages of LFP batteries, and I think Hyundai should offer LFP batteries in future if they want to be able to appeal to more customers. So the Ioniq 5 has 5 battery options. They have the 58.2 kilowatt hour battery. This comes with 24 modules and 288 cells. That's your entry-level version. Then they have the 72.6 kilowatt hour battery. That comes with 30 modules and 360 cells. That's initially available in Europe and South Korea. Then they have the 77.4 kilowatt hour battery that comes with 32 modules and 384 cells. So you can see 24 more cells than the 72.6 kilowatt version. That's the higher capacity version that's introduced at the end of 2021 for North America and the 2023 model year in Europe. A little bit confusing. I hope that sums it up for you. The EV6 was launched later, and it comes standard with the 77.4 kilowatt hour battery option and the 58 kilowatt hour entry level version as well. So Hyundai Motor Group's eGMP platform, used by Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, utilizes a modular battery pack which can be seen opened in this video. I'll put a link in the description below to the video where the pack is opened if you want to see the actual engineering going on there. So what about the battery thermal preconditioning? This is an important new feature. It's the automatic battery thermal preconditioning while navigating to a charging point to improve charging power. This is something Tesla already does, and obviously something that customers probably ask for. It's needed in cold weather, as shown in a recent series of tests in different places around the world. It's also needed in hot weather or under hard driving when the battery cells get hot. This new battery conditioning feature will enable the Ioniq 5 to automatically adapt its battery temperature while traveling to ensure optimal charging conditions when reaching the charging point, improving real-life charging performance in hot or cold ambient conditions. This function activates automatically when a charging point is entered into the vehicle's navigation system using connected routing. I really like this feature. To me, these are all the little details that you need in your EV. This is the kind of thing that in China, customers want. They want all this new technology. They want the latest and the greatest. They want to be able to download all these different apps. Well, I won't talk about China today, but one of the interesting things is in their cars, a lot of the EVs you can currently buy have an open source system where you can download basically any app you want. And there's constantly new apps being developed and made that will provide you with sort of updated, improved digital services. What about the video-based digital mirrors? The Ioniq 5 will be available with optional digital mirrors, which initially were offered only in South Korea. There's two separate options. The first of those is a digital center mirror, digital interior mirror. The digital center mirror optimizes visibility by providing an unobstructed panoramic rear-facing view of the car. The DCM camera is installed below the Ioniq 5's rear spoiler. Then they've got digital side mirrors, DSM, digital exterior mirrors. The DSM reduce air resistance and will provide Ioniq 5 customers with an enhanced rear view even in bad weather. Now, the DSM or digital side mirrors were a feature that were already available on some other electric cars in Europe. They're standard on a Honda E and optional on an Audi e-tron. In the US, DSM is not allowed by law. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think this should be a feature in more electric cars. Hopefully the US can remove this regulation. This allows cars to be quite a bit more aerodynamically efficient. You get better range by not having actual external side mirrors on the outside of the car. What about the smart frequency dampers? The last change listed for the 2023 model year, as spoken on by Inside EVs, is smart frequency dampers, which are expected to improve the response of the rear axle suspension to increase ride comfort, as well as improve both body control and handling. Now, what I've heard is that Ioniq 5s handle quite well. In fact, most electric cars do, because you've got all that weight at the bottom evenly distributed across the base of the car. Whereas with a gas vehicle, you got all the weight just at the front. I mean, pretty hard to overcome that engineering challenge. That's one of the big advantages of EVs. It's one of the reasons like a lot of gas heads, a lot of petrol heads, a lot of motoring enthusiasts drive an EV and they're like, oh, this handles so much better than what I thought it would for a non-performance car. Very common response. This is what Hyundai said. The Ioniq 5 has proved to be successful in the 12 months since its launch, both in terms of sales and brand building. The segment is growing increasingly competitively, and we will be offering enhanced features to defend our position as technology leader in the automotive industry. Now, like I've said before, you can lead on anything. You can make the world's greatest mobile phone. But if the majority of people can't buy it, it doesn't mean jack. But Hyundai, hopefully, they build more of these. Because personally, I'd love to own one. Would you? Let me know in the comment section below. The Ioniq 5 is a very competent electric vehicle. Looks great, inside and out. Really good space on the interior. And it shows many aspects of what will demonstrate the complete superiority of electric vehicles over clunky, non-practical gas guzzlers, including the entirely flat cabin floor, two-way charging, 350 kilowatt fast charging, and many other features. EVs will only get better from here on, while gas vehicles have been stuck at the end of their technology curve for many years. This is exciting. We're in an exciting time to be alive. In fact, there's never been a better time to be alive than there is right now.